You see her across the room, and something happens. Your heart rate jumps, your palms go slightly damp, your chest tightens in a way that feels almost uncomfortable. Your thoughts speed up and then scatter. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, a version of you that was perfectly calm 30 seconds ago has completely disappeared. You are nervous and you have no idea why. She has not done anything. She has not said anything threatening. She is just standing there, and yet your body is responding like something dangerous is about to happen. This is not weakness. This is not a personality flaw. This is one of the oldest and most precisely engineered systems in the human body doing exactly what it was designed to do. And once you understand what it actually is, you will never experience nervousness the same way again. Let's go back about 2 million years. Your ancestors lived in small tribal groups on the African savanna. Survival was not guaranteed. Every day involved real threats predators, rival groups, scarce food, unpredictable weather. And in that environment, one of the most important things a human being could do was secure a mate. Not because of romance, because of reproduction, because the continuation of your genetic line depended entirely on your ability to attract and keep a partner. This was not optional, this was the entire point. And so your brain, over millions of years of evolutionary pressure, built a dedicated system for it. A system that activates the moment a high value potential mate enters your awareness. A system designed to make you perform at your absolute best. That system is your nervousness. Here is what is actually happening in your body when you see a girl you like. Your brain's threat detection center, the amygdala, fires first. It identifies her as high value and high stakes simultaneously. High value because your brain's reward circuitry has tagged her as someone worth pursuing. High stakes because the possibility of rejection is now present. Within milliseconds, your hypothalamus signals your adrenal glands. They release adrenaline epinephrine directly into your bloodstream. Your heart rate increases. This pumps more oxygenated blood to your muscles. Your breathing becomes slightly shallower and faster. This gets more oxygen into your system quickly. Your palms sweat. This is your body improving your grip, an ancient preparation for physical action. Your pupils dilate slightly. This sharpens your visual focus. Your digestion slows down. Your body is redirecting energy away from non essential processes and toward your muscles and senses. Every single one of these responses has one purpose: to prepare you for a high stakes moment that requires peak performance. This is called the sympathetic nervous system response, and it is identical, neurologically, chemically, physiologically identical to what your ancestors experienced right before a hunt, right before a fight, right before any moment that genuinely mattered. Your nervous system does not distinguish between a lion and a girl you like, it only knows this matters. Prepare accordingly. Now, here is where it gets fascinating. Research by psychologist Arthur Aron and his colleagues showed that the early stages of romantic attraction activate the same dopamine pathways as cocaine, not similar, the same. The nucleus accumbens, your brain's reward center lights up in identical patterns, which means the nervousness you feel is not just a stress response, it is a stress response layered on top of a reward response. Adrenaline and dopamine firing simultaneously. Your brain is telling you two things at once: this is dangerous and this could be the greatest reward you have ever experienced. That combination is not random. That is your brain treating this moment as one of the most important opportunities of your life. Helen Fisher at Rutgers University spent decades scanning the brains of people in the early stages of attraction. She described what she found as a drive state, not an emotion, but a motivational system as powerful as hunger or thirst. Your brain is not just interested in her, it is driven toward her the way it is driven toward survival needs. And yet you experience all of this as nervousness, as something uncomfortable, as something you wish would stop. This is the irony at the center of the whole thing. The biological system that was designed to maximize your chances of attracting a mate. The system that sharpens your senses, energizes your body, focuses your attention, feels from the inside like anxiety, like a problem, like something going wrong, but nothing is going wrong. Everything is going exactly right. Here is the research that changes how you think about this. In 2012, psychologist Alison Woodbrooks at Harvard Business School ran a series of experiments on what she called anxiety reappraisal. She took people who were about to do something nerve wracking, give a speech, sing karaoke, take a math test, and had them say one simple thing out loud before they started. One group said, I am calm. The other group said, I am excited. The results were dramatic. The people who told themselves they were excited performed significantly better across every measure: better speeches, better singing scores, better math results than the people who tried to calm themselves down. Why? Because excitement and anxiety are physiologically almost identical. Same elevated heart rate, same adrenaline, same heightened arousal state. The only difference is the story your brain tells about what that state means. When you tell yourself you are anxious, your brain interprets the arousal as a threat signal. It adds another layer of stress on top of what you are already feeling. When you tell yourself you are excited, your brain reframes the exact same physical state as readiness, as anticipation, as energy that is available to you. The nervousness does not go away, but instead of working against you, it works for you. This is not positive thinking, this is neuroscience. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that processes meaning and context, directly regulates how your amygdala interprets incoming signals. Change the label, you change the response. Elite athletes have known this intuitively for decades. What performers call being in the zone is not the absence of nervousness, it is nervousness that has been channeled into focus and energy rather than fear and shutdown. The sprinter at the starting line is not calm. The surgeon before a difficult operation is not calm. The musician before walking on stage is not calm. They are activated and they have learned to use that activation rather than fight it. You can do the same thing right now with the nervousness you feel around a girl you like. The next time you feel it, the racing heart, the tightening chest, the scattered thoughts, do not try to make it stop. Do not tell yourself to calm down. Instead, name it accurately. This is my body preparing me for something important. This is adrenaline doing its job. This is 2 million years of evolution telling me this moment matters. I am not anxious, I am ready. And then walk toward it. Because here is the truth that most people never figure out. The nervousness you feel around a girl you like is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that your brain has correctly identified something worth caring about. The boys who feel nothing around girls they like are not more confident. They are less engaged, less present, less alive to the moment. You feel nervous because you care, because this matters to you, because somewhere in your ancient biology, a system built over millions of years has looked at her and said, this one is worth everything you have got. That is not a weakness. That is your entire evolutionary inheritance saying yes. You are mid sentence. The girl you like is looking right at you, and your mind goes completely blank. Not slow, not foggy, blank, like someone pulled a plug. 1 second you had a thought, the next second there is nothing there. Just the sound of your own heartbeat and the growing awareness that the silence has gone on too long. This has happened to you before, probably more than once, and you have probably blamed yourself for it. You told yourself you were boring, awkward, not good enough, but the real answer is far stranger than any of that. What is happening inside your brain in that moment has almost nothing to do with how interesting you are. It has everything to do with how your brain was built and what it was built for. Your brain is not a conversation machine. It never was. It is a threat detection machine that learned over millions of years to talk. Think about that for a second. The oldest parts of your brain, the amygdala, the hypothalamus, the brainstem, those regions evolved hundreds of millions of years ago. They do not care about conversations, they care about survival. They are constantly scanning your environment, asking one question on a loop: is this safe or is this dangerous? Most of the time, that system stays quiet. You talk to your friends, your family, your coworkers, and it does not interfere. Your prefrontal cortex, the newest, most sophisticated part of your brain, stays online. It handles language, memory retrieval, social processing, humor. It does all the things a good conversation requires. But the moment something feels like a threat, the ancient brain takes over. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. It redirects blood flow away from your prefrontal cortex and toward your muscles. It prepares you to run or fight. And your prefrontal cortex, the part doing the talking, goes offline. This is what researchers call the amygdala hijack. The term was coined by psychologist Daniel Goleman in his 1995 book on emotional intelligence. Goleman described it as the moment your emotional brain overrides your thinking brain so completely that rational thought becomes nearly impossible. You are not running out of things to say. Your brain is shutting down the language center because it believes you are in danger, but you are not in danger. You are just talking to a girl. So why does your brain think this is a threat? Here is where it gets interesting. To your ancient brain, social rejection and physical danger feel identical. This is not a metaphor. The same neural pathways that process physical pain process social pain. A study by Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA showed that when participants were excluded from a social game, the region of the brain that lit up was the same region that processes physical injury. Being left out, being rejected, being judged. Your brain encodes all of it the same way it encodes being hurt. So when you're standing in front of a girl you like, your brain is running a calculation. If I say the wrong thing, she might reject me. If she rejects me, that is going to hurt. That hurt is coded in my brain exactly like pain. Pain is a signal of danger. Danger means activate the threat system. And just like that, your prefrontal cortex goes quiet. Your words disappear. The conversation dies. This gets more intense the more you like her. That seems obvious on the surface, but the mechanism beneath it is worth understanding. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with anticipation and reward, spikes when you're attracted to someone. Your brain treats romantic interest like a high value target, and the higher the perceived value of a reward, the more intensely your brain protects against losing it. Helen Fisher, a biological anthropologist at Rutgers University, spent decades studying the neuroscience of romantic attraction. She found that the brain in the early stages of attraction looks almost identical to the brain under stress. The same dopamine surges, the same cortisol spikes, the same heightened state of alert. Attraction at the neurological level is not a relaxed and comfortable state, it is an activated one, which means the more attractive you find her, the more activated your threat system becomes, and the harder it is to access the language and memory functions that fuel a conversation. You're not running out of things to say, you are short circuiting. And here is the part that almost nobody talks about. The more you try to think of something to say, the worse it gets. This is known as ironic process theory, first as described by psychologist Daniel Wegner. His research showed that the harder you try to suppress a thought or produce a specific mental state, the more your brain fixates on the opposite. Tell yourself not to think about a white bear and you will think about nothing else. Try desperately to think of something interesting to say and your mind will empty faster than if you had simply let the moment breathe. The act of monitoring yourself, checking whether you sound smart, funny, interesting, normal, consumes the exact cognitive resources you need to actually be those things. Self monitoring and genuine connection run on the same limited bandwidth. You cannot do both at once. This is why you can talk to her easily when the stakes feel low. When you're just friends, when you do not care about impressing her, when the outcome does not matter, the threat system stays quiet, the prefrontal cortex stays online, words come naturally, laughter comes easily, you're genuinely yourself. Then something shifts, a feeling develops, the stakes go up, and suddenly the same conversation becomes impossible. The irony is that what you are showing her in that frozen, silent moment is not who you actually are. You are showing her a brain under threat, a system in shutdown, and the version of you that exists when the threat system is quiet, curious, funny, engaged, warm. That version never gets a chance to show up. So, what do you actually do with this? The answer is not to try harder. You already know that makes it worse. The answer is to do what every piece of research on social anxiety and amygdala regulation points toward: reduce the perceived threat, not increase the effort. You do that by changing what the conversation means. If the conversation means I need to impress her, your brain treats failure as danger. But if the conversation means I'm just curious about this person, the calculation changes completely. Curiosity is not threatening. Curiosity does not have a failure state. You cannot ask a wrong question. You cannot be too interested in the wrong way. The researchers who study high quality social connection, including psychologist Arthur Aron, whose famous 36 questions study brought strangers to emotional closeness in under an hour, consistently find that what makes conversations feel meaningful is not wit or charm or perfect timing. It is genuine attention, the sense that someone is actually listening, actually interested, actually present, that is accessible to you right now. No matter how blank your mind goes, when the words disappear, you do not need to manufacture something clever. You need to give your attention somewhere other than your own performance. Look at her. Actually, listen to what she just said. Ask about it, not because it is a technique, because you are genuinely there. Your brain cannot maintain a threat response when it is genuinely engaged with another person. Curiosity and fear run on opposite tracks. The moment your attention shifts from how am I doing to what is she actually saying, the hijack loosens its grip. Words start to come back. Not perfectly, not like a script, but real ones. Tonight, if you find yourself standing in front of someone you like and the silence stretches a bit too long, remember what is actually happening. Your ancient brain has decided this matters too much to risk. It has protected you the only way it knows how, by shutting down. The cure is not to care less, it is to redirect the caring outward her, toward what she is saying, toward the actual human in front of you. And the moment you do that, the part of your brain that knows how to talk will come back online because it was never gone. It was just waiting for you to stop trying to protect yourself long enough to actually connect. That blank moment you have been ashamed of for years, that is not a flaw. That is a brain that cares deeply about the people it lets in. The question is whether you're going to let it run you or whether you're going to run it.